Hello, my name's Ralph and welcome back to the channel. It's my time, let's go. So today I'm getting a chance to work on my 81 here and try to button it up. We've got everything finished and we've enlarged the breather hole and we've done the different things that we need to do. So today we're going to try and get some of the assembly done while I got a chance in between after working on Margaret. So we get our gasket. I use James gaskets and we don't use the cheap ones because that's not what we want. What we've done is put a little washer on here. And we check the thickness to make sure that I got like 10 thou. I like to get that. And I've just got 10 thousandths of an inch there. And the gaskets, they say, will crush 6 thousandths of an inch. So that gives me 4 thousandths of an inch end play on my breather gear, which is what we want. So here we can choose. There are different washers for the end of the breather gear. I've got a big selection of them there. And we just keep measuring them so we get the right clearance. So we'll start by putting in our drive gear, our oil pump drive gear. I think before we do, I'm going to install the new oil pump because it makes it easier to get at the little gear down in here. So let me get my clips and get what I need and we'll get at it. I'm going to need my little goggles here to get in there and see because it's a hard spot to get at. Clip off. There we go. And we'll slide the old shaft out. Now I'll get my new oil pump and we'll get ready to put that in. So our oil pump is assembled here. Checked our keys to make sure they're right. And I'm just going to slide the 2 top screws in. Just to help me hold it in place while I get it started. Put some lube on the shaft. Just put a little dot in there on the gears. So when they turn around, they'll have a little bit of lubrication to start with. Okay, we slide it in here carefully, get our shaft in the hole. And there we go. Just set those screws in a little bit to help hold the gasket in place. And we're going to have to leave it out enough to put our drive gear in here. Put the drive gear in. And I like to put another one in here just to make sure we've got the gasket in the right position there. And we do. Now we'll try to get our key. Roll the shaft around so the key is at the top. Go. It's going to be a little tricky. Push it in far enough so we make sure that we can get our outer clip on. So we'll get our new small clip for the end. And try not to spread that any more than it should be. And S&S says to put the eyes at the top, right where the keyway is. Okay. Just gotta kind of screw these in a little bit. But again, not tight. So I just put a little tiny dab of lube in there on that top gear. Put our gasket on. going to replace this one here and this top one with small plugs in it because they're set up for primary chain oiler and I'm not going to be using that. So I'll get that done and be back. This one here is for the chain oiler adjustment. This one here was for the chain oiler spigot and one on the top as well. And we've replaced them all with Allen keys, Allen set screws, and covered them with white thread sealer to seal them up. Now we'll move ahead, get these two in there, making sure you got your washers on there. And we'll just start that in place. Rear one's in. They should slide right in if you're in the gasket holes. Now we'll just make sure our oil pump is in a happy place. And we'll start snugging the 4 of them up on the outside. Make sure that we can move our oil pump freely. The gear spins easily. And crisscross pattern. Just lightly snug them up. Making sure we can still turn it. Always do the 4 bolts in a crisscross pattern first before you do the top one up. Make sure that you're nice and free there. Now because we're using paper gaskets from James, they suggest 90 to 110 inch-pounds. If you were using the nylon gaskets or different ones, they'd be like 50, 60 pounds. So be sure to watch your torque values when you use something different. And I'm still going to just go bit by bit, making sure I can still spin it freely. Here we are, 100 pounds. That one. This one. Okay, now we're torqued and our gear is spinning nice and freely. It's very important that that gear spins freely. As you've seen before, when I tried to deal with the other oil pump, I couldn't spin the gear at all. And it would lock right up. Now, it's proper. So we'll snug these ones up at the top. Still free. Tighten that down. And we'll tighten that one down. All right, so we're nice and clear there. That's the way it's supposed to be, and I'm feeling good about it now. Now we'll have to pull the top cap off here and prime this pump before we go to use it. Okay, next thing to do, we put our oil pump gear on with the chamfered side facing in. And I've already got the key in there. So we can just slide it in. There we go. We're on our key, and it should slide right in there. Then we'll put our spacer in. Put the key in for our pinion gear. Make sure it's seated in there. There we go. Take our pinion gear nut, which is left-hand thread. This will lock the pinion gear in place so that we're able to torque it. it locks into the teeth of the pinion, so it can't move. Take my little tool that Pauline made me back in 1990. It's cut out special for it. And there we are. Okay. Take our little tool off. Always make sure that the little worm gear in there, that you can move it back and forth, that it and the washer are free, and that they're not locked up tight. We're going to set our cam in. I'm not worried about timing marks right now. And I'm going to set this on because I can reach down in there also and make sure that that's got free movement. We've put new pinion bushing, or new bushings in here for the cam. Okay, there we go. All right, let's put a couple screws in it and see what's happening. Seemed to fit all right before, but let's try 6 down in there. And I can get a 6 thou feeler gauge in there. 6, let's try 7. I can just get a 7 in there. And my plate is free. Oh, and I want to check my, take this little pick and I can look down in there, stick it on my breather gear window, making sure that the breather gear has some play in it. Here we go. So we know that our breather gear is not crushed out either. I'm going to take this off to put my lifter blocks in, and that way I can see where they're going and everything. Okay. It's a lube for my cam bearing. And let's see where we are here. Take this off for the moment. It's an Andrews J grind cam. I never seem to remember after I put them in. Okay. Turn that around here. Make sure that one's lined up. And that one's lined up. A little bit of assembly lube on this one. Help it stick. So we know that all our oil pump gear is free. We've got our timing marks now. We've set our cam spacing and we've set our breather gear spacing. So all of those things are in place. So I'm going to go along and get my lifters now, and I'm going to put them in first so I can see what I'm doing. It makes it a little easier to get your fingers in there and have them come down where you want. And we're always making sure that the small oil holes have to be fitting inward on your blocks. So which have I got here? So they have to be facing inwards towards the center, as that's where the holes are. And we'll kind of hold these and ease it down in there. I already got a little lube on them. A little trickier. Okay, I'll find my lifter block screws and get ready to put those in. So we get our little screws in place. And the cover just goes on nice. Okay. So now I'm just going to take my oil can and some oil down in there. Just run down in the case through the holes. Gives you a little better chance when she fires up. So there's a little pin inside here, and that pin has to fit on your cam. And when your cam lobe goes in there, there's a flat spot on one side, and that side has to fit in. There's a small pin in there, and it has to go in on that pin. So I see the pin is to the right, and this is a 9/16 nut on there, and it just needs to be snugged up, not over torqued, or you'll break it off in the camshaft. And people do some funny things at times. I had a customer back a lot of years ago that was trying to turn the motor over. He said his screw was broke off in the camshaft. I said, how'd that happen? Make sure everything's free in there. I said, how'd that happen? He said, well, I put a wrench on here and I was trying to turn the motor over. And of course, snapped it right off. Okay, my darn ignition, my favorites. Everything off so it's dry. And there we go. Leave those loose so that we can move our plate around. And we need this to keep the wire off the exhaust pipe. There we go. Get some tie wraps and tie that up, and then we've got to wire it into, put some ends on it and wire it into the coil. So now we're going to work away and put our push rods in, starting with the front intake because it's the farthest in there. I'll work with the inside ones first, then I can work with the outside. So what we're going to do is roll the motor over, watch this one come up and go down, and this one come up to the top, and then we know we're on the right position on the cam lobe. So by putting the bike in 5th gear, we can bump it around. There we can see it coming up. Watch for our rear one to come up to the top. That's where we want it there. Okay. Always make sure that you have your rubbers in the bottom here. It's an easy thing to miss, and if you put it all together, next thing you know, you'll have oil everywhere. Also, up inside your head. You'll make sure that your rubbers are seated up inside there. And make sure your rubbers are in here, of course. Okay. And we'll just screw it down. And we've got our little tool here that gives us a mark right there as to how far this should be from the top of the lifter body. Okay, I'll start screwing it down. Quite a little bit more. Almost there. Go. We'll just make sure that's tight. There we go. We'll just give that a minute. Weed down. I should be able to turn them with my fingers there, no problem, which I can. Now I'm going to go along and do the rear one, and it's the same procedure. You just roll it over until the front one, now we will want to have up at its high point while the rear one is down low. So we'll rotate the engine. Front one's going up. Front one's up, and the rear one is down low. Now if you've got hydraulic lifters and you've had them out and cleaned them and such, and you've got them in two pieces like this, you'll see that when you try to put this lifter back into the body, it won't want to go down. And there's no way that you'll get your push rods back in. So because there's a check ball inside of this, we just take like a little Allen wrench, stick it in there. That allows the oil to come out, and now we can put it in there and it's at its lowest point. So I'm going to go along and set all these push rods up the way they're supposed to be and not bore you with all that. It takes quite a bit of time to wait for them to bleed down, and et cetera, et cetera. But when we get them all back in place, I'll come back. All right, so it's been a long day, and I've gone along and got the gas tanks on the shovel and went around, tidied everything up, set the timing, made sure there was oil in it. There's always a lot of little things to do when you're getting ready to run. But I think she's just about ready to go now, so we're gonna give it a try and see if she'll fire up and give me a kick. It's Friday night, just after 5 o'clock, so I don't want to be here for a long time. But we think we'll give it a try and see what happens. So when we initially fired up the bike, it fired right up and just touched the button and away it went. So it made me feel really good that that's all set the way it's properly supposed to be. And upon letting it warm up a little bit, I still had a tick in the top and the front. Now I've gone through everything, so I know it's not a problem in the heads or the rocker arms or anything like that. So I'm down to the lifters, and I'm thinking what's happening is I've actually got a bad lifter or two in the front blocks. The rear is nice and quiet, it appears to be, and the front was making the noise. Before I tore it apart, when it was making the noise all the time, clack, 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 clack. So this time when I warmed it up and I got it all running and everything, and once it warmed up a little bit, then tick, 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 and the sound is still there. Now I'm not quite sure what's going on. I'm going to order some new lifters for the front. Maybe I got a collapse lifter or something that's not pumping up right. It seems to come and go a little bit, and it's not as bad as it was, but it's still there. So I don't know where to go exactly from here, but 2 new lifters is in the future for me. I'm going to put the hydraulic lifters in there, and then we'll see where that goes. If that doesn't do it, then I'm down to, I believe, the camshaft, and we may have to order a new camshaft for it to see if I can eliminate this noise. I've pretty well been through everything in the top and everywhere else, and I can't seem to stop it, and I really thought this would, but it didn't. So such is the way it is when you're working on old Harleys. Those kind of things happen, and that's the way it goes. So, as per usual, I'm a lucky guy when I get to get people to drop in from around the world that are watching my channel and stuff, but today's a little bit special. I've got Wade Best here, and he's in here from Australia, actually coming to visit, and he moved away, what? 17 years ago? 17 years ago. Tried to take his little shovel with him down there, but it had some trouble with the government down there. Didn't quite get it registered as it should be. But it's great to see him home. Wade also built my bus that's out in the yard that I've used for years for dragging your little Vega, I think it was, wasn't it? Pinto. Yeah. Was it a Pinto?
Pinto body, Chevy driveline, yeah.
Yeah, a little Pinto with 350 in it.
No, I had a big block in it in the end.
Big block in it in the end.
454, yeah.
Yeah, and he had the bus all built with a big ramp in the back so we could carry stuff. So I got a lot of use out of the bus for a good many years. I had a lot of fun with it all the time, you know. So, but it's the part of YouTube that I like, you know. Wade, it's kind of special because I didn't expect to see your face after you moved to Australia. I thought that was probably the bitter end, and when that many years goes by, you think, you know, I'm not gonna get over it. But I'm really glad you dropped in today. You know,
I was on the way with Brothers, and I thought, I'm gonna call in. I see the bus sitting there. I'm gonna call in and see Ralph.
There you go. I'm always here.
Yeah,
I'm always here.
See what projects you had on the go, because you always got neat projects on the go.
Yeah, that hasn't changed a bit. So, but yeah, it's been great. So. Another part of it, and he's watching me from over there, so I find that exciting. I really enjoy that.
Watch your videos on YouTube. And
there you go. Yeah.
Follow your page.
Makes the world a small place.
It does.
Sometimes,
it does,
you know. Yeah. I get people from all over the world contact me and stuff. I just had a guy 2 weeks ago from Cayman Islands.
Yeah.
Was watching me in the Cayman Islands and had an old shovel there that he got in a basket case to work on, and turned out his parents lived up in Moncton.
Oh, yeah.
So he was home for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool like that. And the contacts you make with people all around the world right there. You know, my 2 cronies there, Slickhead down there, and Hippie. You know, we stay in contact all the time and had a great time with it. So it's all been good. So it's good to see you home here. And I'm so glad you come in.
Yeah,
glad you come in here. Nice to see Frank here. And, you know, see.
On the way to our Brothers, I stopped off at Bruce's and I've just been dropping her in.
Oh, I'm sure there's not enough time. Yeah. But you're home for a month, so that'll give you some time.
It'll go by quickly, I'm sure. But,
yeah. All right, I'm out. So, if you enjoyed this video this week, please like, subscribe, ring the bell to be informed of new videos coming out. It all helps us to grow, and hit that like button and comment. Also, please do check out my buddies down south, Slickhead's Custom Cycles. Slick has helped me out a lot in the past, and I appreciate it. Hippie's Chopper Corner. Hippie's sent me some stuff when I was in a bind as well, and I appreciate it very much. So check them both out, and also Gus at This Old Chopper. All right, have a great day, and we'll see you on next week's video.